That's it. All right. How's it going, peeps? Welcome to the second episode of Tommy's Adelaide podcast. We got Jimmy Petkof here from Raven Black Knight, Caterpillar Explosion. What's it?
Loving Tongue.
Loving Tongue. Almost forget all the ones you're in. There's Big Tom's Bluesman.
Yeah. And now and again, Third Stone, Hendrick Show.
Yeah, when you got the time.
There you go. And now and again, an Iron Maiden show, Children of the Dam, I was doing as well for a while. But,
shit, man. I knew there was going to be one off of
yeah. Well, mainly Raven Black Knight.
Yeah, that's your main band, isn't it?
It seems to be, you know.
Yeah, cool.
Whatever the mood is, but that's the mothership.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, no, you're a bit of a local legend, man, especially Raven Black Knight. You guys been going for a while.
Yeah, probably 1999. Probably, how many years is that now?
I've got the CD, I reckon, from 1999. You had another singer on that, didn't you? Well, you had one of the guys did vocals.
Original bass player Matt did
the more brutal ones. That was sick, man. I love that record, man.
We had 2000 demo.
Yeah.
2002, and then we didn't put it out to 2005, Choose the Dark. That was the local ones, and then it was... then we got this reputation for long distances between recordings. Then it was 2013, Barbarian Winter, and then 2020, Run with the Raven.
Hey, quality over quantity, isn't it? You know,
Doom is slow, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long time.
It is. It's a slow cooker.
It's a slow cooker.
That's it. Yeah. So what was I going to ask you? That's right. So you got quite a guitar sound, mate. So just for the guitar geeks out there, I was hoping maybe you could run through us briefly a bit of some of your favourite equipment to use live.
Yeah.
And the shit that you use to achieve that unique tone and sound that you have. What sort of stuff are you using?
Well, basically, I've got a locally made amp, which we all know Frank Custom Music.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine is from the late 80s. And it's been going all this time, obviously with work and that. But that's pretty much a takeoff of a boogie, a mezzo boogie, right? And then I like my Fender Strats. I've got two main ones, one since '88.
I noticed you use them a lot live.
And one I've got an LA '63 reissue. And then with my pedals, I've always had pedals and.
I've noticed you use more effects pedals and fucking like THX, those mob that did the Spielberg movies, mate.
There you go.
Everywhere, mate.
There you go. It's a spaceship. But
doing hopscotch.
Hopscotch. But the funny thing is, I've been in and out of fashion. When I first used to use the pedals, people say, "Oh, look at all your pedals, look at that," and then came the real heavy metal racks, and everyone had racks. And I had pedals. And then
that was a bit of a trend, wasn't it?
The Doom of Stone kids, they got that many now. And but I've been offered good money for some of my pedals because I just bought them at the time for
you got some nice
$70, $80.
Nice.
And then but the thing is, you know what? I don't use them all at once.
I noticed that,
I use one now and again.
Yeah,
and painting.
You don't overdo it. It's the perfect. It's just just for that little bit on a song. Bang, this is the right one.
I mean, nothing beats technique.
Exactly.
You've got to know how whatever you're playing, whatever style you're playing. That doesn't mean you have to know 1,000 notes. That doesn't mean you have to be the most versatile person. Your knowledge of your chords or your riffs and that can make some of the most interesting guitar players are the best songwriters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then some of the most amazing guitar players. The song's okay, but it's whatever mood you're into, I suppose.
Mate, I find that I get into so much stuff. Sometimes like we were talking before about a bit of slow doom. Sometimes you just could not. listen to anything other right now than just a bit of slow doom, or sometimes you want something a bit more laid back, something a bit softer.
Yeah.
Or you're having your dinner. You don't want to listen to sort of, I find when I'm having dinner, I want something a bit mellower, so I might put Pink Floyd on, or something a bit, softer.
There you go. The dinner music. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I find, you got to have your dinner music.
It's going to be hard.
Elevator music, dinner music.
Yeah. I suppose it's going to be hard, eating with, Slayer on or something, right?
I find you can be careful, you stab yourself in the tongue with your fork. Go, damn, that's a damn good steak. Angel of Death, cutting up the steak. Shit,
that's it,
So
it's got to be Dire Straits or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, actually, I've done that a few times, the old Dyers,
You die, I've been in dire situations, but...
You know what, the name doesn't match the music. Dire Straits, and you put it on and it's all like...
it's all poppy, But a great guitar player.
Oh, yeah, man. Mark Knopfler.
That's
wow,
it, Mark Knopfler, really good.
How could you not like him? So, what was I going to ask you? Here's a good one. So far, man, you've had a decent career. You've been in music for quite a while, man. You're one of the local legends, let's face it, in Adelaide. So you are, man.
Yeah.
So, well, as far as metal goes, you've been doing it longer than like most people out in the scene and managed to keep going in various bands too. So what would you, in your opinion, would have been some of your career highlights so far,
I suppose when it came to, the first band ever was the rock blues scene, right? So just to get a gig and get out there in the pubs, and it was like 1990, 1991, and the scene was so vibrant. And then it was like, to get a gig on a Saturday, it was like, a big thing. But as it moved along, getting into the loving tongue, was we managed to get to America in 1999.
I've seen that, in Canada as well.
No, we mainly did the West Coast, and obviously the tour, we didn't have enough money, but we got through around 5 shows, but that was like it was like something that seemed unbelievable that you could play overseas.
Yeah,
and now there's a lot of...
Oh, man, I've never had done that, so,
now it's more attainable. But to take COVID away, there was more bands like now from Australia than ever. You had to be a big record company band, but, independent bands go overseas and Europe, and so that was definitely a highlight.
I bet.
Then with Raven again the same thing, to go to Germany in 2007. I play some festivals, and that was like, wow, people actually are there, and they want you to sign shit.
Wow,
and it's like, instead of like, I've got to buy a beer with that $20, I want to buy your CD. Like in Australia, like, here's my CD for $10. Yeah, I've got to buy a beer, mate. I might get it next time. But they're like, they're pretty full on into their music.
And, Germany, especially the metal.
And it was like, wow, how are we getting attention over there? So that felt good.
Yeah,
and then to get onto obviously Metal Blade in 2000.
Metal Blade Records,
Wow. That was a surprise. What came out of nowhere.
Did they approach you?
Yes. Like we'd been starting to get a few nibbles from people, and where we were gonna go was nowhere. Well, actually, I was being a bit ignorant because I didn't really realise, me coming from the rock blues scene, who Metal Blade was, right? So, and I'll admit that. And then I
didn't know who they were for ages too, because they're as big. Well, they're kind of big, but they're semi-underground. They're only really known amongst real die-hard metal fans, aren't they? Metal Blade Records.
And then you Google them and you go, shit. I mean, they had Metallica there, No Life.
Did Merciful Fate do one?
Merciful Fate. They had Slayer did a couple.
A lot of death bands.
So a lot of bands passed through Metal Blade. These are like big seminal bands.
So. I find it's like a stepping stone, a band. Like bands will go on Metal Blade and then they'll go on to like bigger labels afterwards. And that,
I mean, there's a band, their bigger band now would be Aman Amarth, that band's
they're fucking awesome.
And so it was like to say, shit, you know, for a little while we were on that roster. And because I guess we're so far away, it's happened to a lot of bands from Australia. For one reason or the other, we couldn't be there at that time. And look, the CD did well and a lot of good reviews. Some crap reviews, you know. I got to have, you know, reviews, people saying, oh yeah, this guy sounds like Messiah from Candlemass.
You do actually. I would actually agree with that.
Or Bruce Dickinson. Then one review would say, you got to be on Prozac to listen to me. or the worst metal singer in modern history. And you've got to laugh at that.
Yeah, you got to take that shit as a grain of salt.
The deathcore kids, the metalcore kids probably didn't understand that singing. But that done a lot for that we had been on there.
Yeah.
And then we got to get on a book. We were in a Book of Doom, which has been released last year, an official book like Paradise Lost and all that.
Cool.
And there's a few highlights, but you know, it's been a hard road too. Let me say it takes a lot out of you.
Tell me about it, being someone who shouldn't been in and out of bands for fucking years myself. You're not wrong, mate.
It's like one minute you could be wow, it's sort of happening, and then you do a show like you've done a show with us recently, and so we had a good time.
That was great.
A bit of a hard night, but everyone supported each other. Where sometimes you'll see a band and there's 100 people and 30 people leave after each band, and at least everyone stayed and watched every band.
That was good.
And I believe that's the future. I believe bands supporting each other and people that come with bands will make grassroots bigger.
I hope so, bro.
I think so. And then another highlight was we were lucky enough to play Up the Hammers in Athens, Rain Black Night.
Wow.
We're at the moment the only Australian band that's ever done it.
Shit.
Yeah. And there was meant to be another one, but COVID came, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what you learn with European audiences and that is it doesn't matter if a band had been around 20 years ago and they like it, when they like it, they like it. We got it pretty hard here. Like if you can do stuff in Australia, we don't get any favours.
Man. It's all hard work,
we really
isn't it,
do it
bro?
for the love of it, man.
Oh, amen to that. Exactly, man. Yeah, we don't do it to be to get rich or anything like that.
No, but it'd be alright to be rich.
Oh, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Have a couple of limos and all stuff.
I could take it any time.
Yeah, after show parties like Van Halen did the car park.
Yeah.
Why not, man? Yeah. You have your own roadie to go get the alcohol. I'm being silly.
Oh, mate. Oh, it's good to dream, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, though. You got to dream, mate. You got to dream. So, what artists inspired you the most getting into doing what you do, obviously, which is playing guitar, mainly singing.
Yeah.
And I noticed you do a bit of, tiny bit of synth as well, and keyboards here and there in the Loving Tongue. That was you doing that, wasn't it?
No. We had I did a little bit the basic stuff.
Yeah, I thought you did.
We had. I've got to get you to have a look on YouTube. The guy who did it on the Loving Tongue is on there, but basically.
Oh, okay. Who was that guy?
Gavin O'Loughlin.
Okay.
From, up in the hills, Lockerian Records, and he comes from a Celtic background.
Interesting.
He loves progressive rock, and so he was quite surprised. He thought, he didn't know metal bands would be. Actually, he did some work with the band Chalice as well. They were sort of big for a while. But
I've got one of their CDs.
Yeah.
And
there was a Virgin Black movement of those type of bands.
Oh, okay.
And but what inspired me, I guess, from a guitar point of view, if I'll separate them, right? From a guitar point of view, to pick up the guitar and say, right, I'm going to play guitar.
Yeah, please.
The first time it was probably I seen Jimmy Page on TV doing Stairway to Heaven at Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I want to be that person. And then when I got my shit together, I started listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan, this guitar player.
Amazing. Yeah.
And he sadly passed. And then he recorded a song from Jimi Hendrix. And the first time I heard Jimi Hendrix, I wasn't ready for it. But then I listened to it and I go, wow, I really like this. And I went back to Jimi Hendrix and bang. So he's probably my biggest influence in the way of thinking, recording, not being scared to do any type of music, to love,
there's a lot of light and shade in what he does, which is what I love about Jimmy Page and the Led Zeppelin, obviously.
Yeah, and Zeppelin, and then that led on to all those bands, so all those Sabbaths and Zeppelins and Purple, but the blues rock was a big part, like Jimi Hendrix, there's people like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, there's all these,
Buddy Guy,
there's all those guys. They were really here, right? But then I had the heavy side, and then it was like Uriah Heep, Dio, Judas Priest.
Yeah, Judas Priest was getting real heavy. It's going like way hevier than Zeppelin at that point.
And the funny thing is, when I thought about it, people would say, why are you getting heavy now when you should have been heavy before? And when you read about those bands...
it was just your music journey, wasn't it, man?
I mean, Sabbath will say that they like John Mayall Blues Breakers and they liked Cream.
Mate, they started as a blues band. They were called Earth. And they played all blues songs and then they pretty much just down-tuned it a bit, played it a bit slower and just a bit heavier.
And that's it. And a lot of those bands, even from the 80s, we love, and they all... It's sort of it's a timeline there. So I guess that... That's what got me, and in the singing bit,
And if you look at it too, man, blues. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Blues really is lyrically a lot like Doom. It's all about. It's the blues. It's about negative stuff. It's all like. I lost my job, and then I got home and my dog died. You know what I mean?
It's making the negative, taking it, and putting it out positive.
Exactly.
It's clean like a laundry. You know what I mean? I could say.
I couldn't say it better.
I mean, like say even Pantera, right? It could be the lyrics are like, God,
Yeah, but it makes you feel good.
But it's like
it's a release.
It's a release. Yeah. And I mean, and then
there's a positivity to it through the negativity and the aggression.
That's right. So
exactly.
And then you got the classical influence. I mean, I've always loved people like Malmsteen from a distance. Couldn't play like him.
Same. I mostly love his shit in Alcatraz, on the Alcatraz album. With Graham Bonnet, the first one.
Yeah, and Rainbow. Richie Blackmore, I forget to say, and Rainbow was a massive influence on me to get heavy, because Blackmore...
Especially playing heavy through a...
it's Fender.
Through a Fender,
and then you got the first three Dio Rainbow albums.
Oh, fuck man, I thrash them. They're on my regular rotation for me.
And Gates of Babylon. Yeah. And so, and then influences, they find you here and there. And then after a while, I remember Lemmy on his movie, they said, what are you influenced by? And he goes, nothing is going to influence you like when you grew up. And like you was talking about the Beatles and the Stones.
He's influenced by the Beatles the most. He's a massive Beatles
fan. And I think everyone is. I mean, watching that last movie about him was you wanted to be a Beatle or...
Literally all he's doing is a more distorted, slightly quicker version of the Beatles.
Yeah.
It's for, I think, 3 or 4 chord blues played real quick. Well, and arranged differently.
That's it. And
song to song.
Like even when you guys played with us, yours truly, I said to her, you influenced by this, Halford, Bon Scott, stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, I've listened to bits of them, but you wouldn't have thought, shit, have I influenced them? But the influence will come on you without you realising.
You're definitely right. Bon Scott massively. Here he is.
Here he is. What's his name?
Yeah. Charlie.
Hello, Charlie. We've got Charlie, the ginger cat. He's going to tell me, hey, man, where's my cat Junior? You're out there.
Mate, I think you just bring the pussy out with the rock and roll essence. There's like rock and roll stars here, come out.
Yeah, you had to get to know me a bit, but good old Charlie, we can make him
there he is, we're not lying. There is a cat here.
Good old Charles. Hey, Charles. But, hey, and be nice to animals and always... look after them.
That's it. Amen.
Amen.
He gets spoiled. He gets looked after too well, if anything. What do you reckon, like, is absolute... Who do you reckon, in your opinion, like on the local scene at the moment, musically, who is absolutely, like, killing it? Who are the one to look for, sort of thing? Like, band-wise.
In what scene?
Band-wise.
Band-wise,
Like, new upcomers I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Ones to look for.
You know what? I've probably been guilty because I haven't been out, but I've been.
Me either. I'm too busy, bro. I know what you mean.
If you mean like a band which really is pushing themselves, you'd say
in Adelaide.
You'd have to say Hidden Intent in the metal scene.
Amen, mate.
They're doing metal shows and they're going interstate.
And touring overseas.
They're ones what come to mind. There's what I'm thinking in the blues scene. I mean, I like the blues rock scene, but there hasn't been anything which crept up for me for a long time.
Yeah.
Rock bands, I need to. There's not as many anymore.
You are so right about that. It's all cover bands. It's not the actual original, actual rock bands. I think there's a lot of metal bands, but actual rock bands.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't going anymore.
Yeah, and like.
Excuse me.
And in saying that, I'm sure that there's bands I just haven't heard of, bands I haven't been on the bill, because, I mean, obviously, as you know...
It's always the case.
I'm always... my brain with raving these days is a lot overseas. So, but that's not to say I'm ignoring local.
No.
But there's... I mean, another band I like is... A local band is Pegasus, and they're like a noise...
I've seen them. They are real noisy, aren't they?
Different.
Different, right?
What's that other
interesting band?
I heard them practice at Frank's actually. Now it's coming back to me. Hotchkiss or something. And they're young. They're actually young kids, and they're playing Australian boogie like Lobby Lloyd and Billy Ford.
Nice.
But their style.
Nice.
They've got the hammer going and the guitar playing.
Shit.
And I've seen. So I hear a lot of my bands.
Where'd you see them playing?
I hear them playing at Frank's Custom Music. So there you go. So the rehearsal rooms is a good thing where I've heard a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Because once we go out and play more again, I hope to see. I mean,
I've got into bands through that too, being at a jam room.
Yeah.
When I'm fucking a bit tired, go for a smoke break. Man, that sounds alright. Actually, being a sticky beak I am, I stick my head in and they're like, come in, and I'm you end up getting into their music and you find out there's some local band that's going about. I've got into so many bands like
actually,
that.
I've seen this crazy singer in this band, man, and he was fucking really nuts. I think, what were they called? Full Dose or something.
Don't get tied up with him. He's a maniac.
Oh, is he? Yeah. I heard he's multi-talented and does a comedian show and all that.
Yeah, sometimes, man. Yeah.
Bit of an anarchist.
Yeah. Well, you got that right.
There you go. But look, I'm supportive of all local music, and sometimes I think that the people I'll go on record with saying is, some of the organisations what are meant to be there to help bands are too narrow-minded in the type of bands they want to help.
I know, tell me about it.
They don't want to help everyone. And Adelaide, for its population and the bands I've seen we have, when people go on about Seattle and shit like that, that shit just didn't happen. It got brewed. So I think that it's a very good grounding place from the 60s. The days of the Masters Apprentices from
and I find too, like you would attest to this as well. Like you obviously like me, you like what you like, and in my band too, Full Dose, we don't go with the fucking trends or whatever. We play fucking rock and roll, pretty punky, and we just kind of do what the fuck we want really, and that we found sometimes what's out there, people get behind you and, the local scene and all the organisations, like when it suits them, they'll get behind you. And you get the support, and then when it's not trendy again, you got nothing. It's they just wash their hands. Sorry, pop music's cool now. No, we're not about live music anymore, sorry.
Well, I think what you got to do, my advice is, in my years I've learned, is stick to what you do.
Yeah, stick to your guns.
Build your own, when I say industry up, build your own identity up.
Yeah.
And get your music out there to the world, and you've
definitely done good at that, man. Getting out there and playing.
You've got to send it off. You've got to send your music out there. And now with MP3s and that, you've got the computer.
Yeah.
And there's so many sites you can send it to.
The streaming.
And streaming. So,
Spotify and everything.
I would suggest people to do that.
Yeah, amen. Yeah. And you know what? I did I shouldn't say we did a video clip, put a sticker on it, the song was called In Full Days. And you know what? Best response we've ever had, man.
Excellent.
You know what? Like thousands of people seen that shit.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. If you're a young band or whatever out there, get on YouTube, have a media presence on the internet, get your shit out there.
That's
Amen.
It. And take it to the people.
Yeah, take it to the people, yeah. Shove it down their throat. In a non-porno way. So before you go, mate, did you have any shows coming up you wanted to plug or advertise or anything?
Well, at the moment, I can say it's a show in Sydney, but I like to give it a plug. It's the guy is a really great guy, Dave from Metal Evolution, and he gets bands from all around Australia, and it's a show, Steel Assassins, and it's the 4th or 5th of November, and he's got a lot of great Australian metal bands on the scene, and now and again he gets one from overseas, but he's a regular dude like us. He puts his own money into it. He works hard. And he pulls it off. And so look out for Steel Assassins.
Yeah.
In Bridge Hotel in Sydney.
Get on it. If you're in Sydney, get down to it.
And if you
travel down, if you want to
go down there.
Fucking
holiday.
Fucking oath. Everyone needs a holiday. Get down.
There you go. We need a good Adelaide Metal Festival.
That's it. Cheers so much for coming, Jimmy.
Man. Nice to see you, man.
Mate. Always a pleasure. You're a fucking
legend. You're a legend. All right, we're both legends.
We'll have a fight over who's a legend, mate.
Okay.
No fighting.
No fighting.
Not on this fucking show. Anyway.
God bless you.
Cheers, cobbers. God bless. Fucking metal forever.
There you go.
See you later.